Well, this is Govardhan Puja Part 2. As most of you know, the actual Govardhan Puja celebration day was this past week, Wednesday. However, it's such an important festival during this Kartik month that a decision was made that we would also honor it, Govardhan Puja, during our program tonight for the Sunday audience. And I'm going to go far back in the Lila of the appearance of Govardhan. How did Govardhan come to be present in Vrindavan? There are different descriptions because there are different days of Brahma, and one of those descriptions that's very popular in Vrindavan today is from Garga Samhita. And the narration in Garga Samhita goes like this. There was a sage named Palashya Rishi who was a resident of Kashi, and he was on pilgrimage long, long ago. And one of the places that he visited was the Samali Dvipa. Samali Dvipa is one of the dvipas or islands in Jambu Dvipa. Without going into a fifth canto cosmology description, the structure of the universe finds this Bharatvarsha as one of the tracts of lands in the area that's part of Jambu Dvipa. Jambu Dvipa has as its center a golden mountain that's upside down, meaning it's broad at the top and narrow at the bottom, like a cone that's upside down. And at the base of that Mount Sumeru, there's different mountain ranges and valleys in between those mountain ranges, and Bharatvarsha is one of those valleys in between. Anyway, that's the structure of the universe. And Samali Dvipa is one of the islands surrounding Jambu Dvipa, and Palashya was in pilgrimage, and he was visiting Shamali Dvipa, and he saw this very, very beautiful mountain named Giriraj that happened to be the son of Dronachala. So Kashi is a tract of land that's very flat, no mountains. So he particularly became charmed by Giriraj, the son of Dronachala, and he made the request of his father, please give your son in charity to a Brahmana. And the father didn't want to give his son in charity to a Brahmana, but he couldn't say no either because he was hesitating, and Palashya was getting a little angry. Don't anger one of the great sages like that. So he turned to his son and asked his son, would you like to go? Because he knew his son wouldn't like to go. His son said, all right, I can go with him on one condition. What's that? And when he takes me to Kashi, wherever he places me down, that's it, I'm not going to move. So Palashya agreed to that condition, and as you see from this nice painting, Palashya had the capacity to travel in air as well as to lift a mountain. And as he was traveling and traveling and traveling, he had to answer the call of nature. You know what that means. And so when the call of nature calls, that's it. So he set Govardhan down right in Vrindavan. And when he finished his business of answering the call of nature, he went back to pick up Govardhan, and Govardhan wouldn't move. And when Govardhan wouldn't move, Pulasya became angry. He said, "You tricked me. All along you had a plan to come here to Vrindavan, but you didn't say that. So I curse you that you'll shrink every day the size of one mustard seed." So at the time, according to Garga Samhita, the height of Govardhan was 2 yojanas, which is 16 miles. Picture in your mind a mountain that's 16 miles tall. That's a big mountain. And shrinking one size, the size of one mustard seed per year, it was a long, long time ago, but Govardhan has been gradually reducing in height and in stature, because originally 115 kilometers long and 72 kilometers wide and 29 kilometers high, or 2 yojanas high. So really, really long, really wide, and really tall. So to this day, there's this, on the bottom image is Pulasya cursing Govardhan to shrink, to reduce in size. There's another nice painting depicting Pulasya carrying Govardhan Hill. Within the pages of Srimad Bhagavatam, there's some very wonderful descriptions of the beauty of Govardhan Hill. A very celebrated verse from the 10th canto is Haridasa Varya. The gopis claim that Govardhan is the Varya, the greatest superlative devotee of Haridasa Varya. Of all devotees, this Govardhan Hill is the best. Why? The gopis pray in this way: "Oh, my friends, this hill supplies Krishna and Balaram, along with their calves, cows, and cowherd friends, with all kinds of necessities. Water for drinking, very soft grass, caves, fruits, and flowers, and vegetables. In this way, the hill offers respect to the Lord." Here's a nice painting showing Radha and Krishna seated just outside one of those caves. Govardhan also features soft roots for eating, jewels for ornamenting the body, and flat places for sitting, like Radha and Krishna here, seated out by the side of Govardhan Hill, or similarly by a little stream, Radha and Krishna, see the cows on the right-hand side, grazing on the side of Govardhan Hill. Flat places for sitting. And the place where pastimes of Radha and Krishna would occur by the side of Govardhan Hill. In this way, the hill offers respect to the Lord by offering services. Now here's an aerial photo of Govardhan Hill. Now the photograph is taken horizontally lower left to upper right, but actually Govardhan is literally north and south. And Govardhan is sometimes compared to a peacock, where the Govardhan town, as you see at the center, that's the torso of the peacock. And then stretching from the torso is the tail down the lower left, so the punch, or the tail of Govardhan Hill. And the upper right, that's the head of Govardhan. And you look carefully, you can see Radhakund and Shyamakund at the 2 eyes of the peacock. So that's Govardhan Hill, a little introduction to Govardhan Hill. Now the Govardhan Lila begins with one day Nanda Maharaj, pictured on the right here, as the head of the cowherds had decided that they should perform a yajna in honor of Lord Indra. And the reason for conducting a yajna for Lord Indra is these are Vaishyas. And as Vaishyas, there are three main activities according to Bhagavad Gita: Krishi, Goraksha, Vanijam, Vaishya Karma Swabhavajam. The occupations of Vaishyas: agriculture, cow protection, trade and commerce. If there's surplus production of grains and surplus production of milk, they sell in the marketplace. But otherwise, it's just for their maintenance and their families by nature's own supply. So nature's supply for both agriculture and cows is dependent upon rain. And when there's sufficient rain during a particular growing season, the tradition was to offer expressions of gratitude to Indra for supplying that rain. And so that was the yajna in honor of Lord Indra. You see the paraphernalia in the lower left side of the painting. So the Brahmanas had gathered this paraphernalia, and Krishna saw his father organizing the yajna, so he asked his father, "What is all this?" He's a little boy. And his father explained, because we're agricultural community, we're dependent upon the rainfall, and so we're offering our regards to Lord Indra. And now, according to, this is chapter 24 of Canto 10, after hearing what Nanda Maharaj had said, why the yajna was being performed, it's just our culture. We say thank you for supplying sufficient rain in this way. So Krishna purposely wanted to anger Indra. Why? Because Krishna understood Indra was too much proud. Indra he's the Lord of the heavenly realm. He's like a powerful fellow. And sometimes he gets a little filled with himself about how powerful he is, and others are subordinate to him. And Krishna doesn't like pride in the heart of his devotee. So, commentary by Sridhar Swami: Lord Krishna's intention in inciting the anger of Indra was to knock down the great mountain of false pride that had arisen within the Lord's tiny servant, who was supposed to represent the Lord as Indra. Contemplating the excessive pride of Indra, Krishna desired to curb his pride. Krishna spoke, "Since Lord Indra cannot in any way change the destiny of human beings, which is born of their own nature, why should people worship him? May a sacrifice for the pleasure of the cows, Brahmanas, and Govardhan Hill begin. With all the paraphernalia collected for worshipping Indra, let this sacrifice be performed instead." You notice what you see on top of Govardhan Hill. That's a Lila Gai in local language. He's a dark cow, Lila Gai. So there's a different species of cows. It's not domestic cows that people keep in their barn. These cows are wild cows. They live up on top of Govardhan Hill, and there's male and female. And they're very shy. If they see you like this person with the camera, he's staring at the camera, and the camera is staring at the cow, and he just stands there. Then all of a sudden, like a deer, they'll just bolt and disappear quickly. They don't move slowly like cows move. So it's just different species. So paraphernalia had been assembled. Let many different kinds of food be cooked, from sweet rice to vegetable soups. Many kinds of fancy cakes, both baked and fried, should be prepared, and all the available milk products should be taken for this sacrifice. The brahmanas, who are learned in Vedic mantras, must properly invoke the sacrificial fires, meaning qualified brahmanas could start a fire without matches. With mantra, they could ignite the fire. Then you should feed the priests with nicely prepared food and reward them with cows and other gifts. After giving food to everyone else, including such fallen souls as dogs and dog eaters, you should give grass to the cows and then present your respectful offerings to Govardhan Hill. You see in the painting, they're making this anukut, big offering of cooked items offered to Govardhan Hill. Now, along with Govardhan Hill being pictured in the painting in the background, you see Lord Hari, because Krishna decided that he would manifest his form as Lord Hari in front of all the residents of Vrindavan to verify that actually Govardhan Hill is a person. We had this discussion today. So Govardhan Hill has multiple features. One is he's a devotee of Lord Hari, and also Govardhan is Lord Hari personified. After everyone has eaten to their satisfaction, you should all dress and decorate yourselves handsomely, and then circumambulate the cows, the brahmanas, the sacrificial fires, and Govardhan Hill. So the traditional Govardhan Prikrama began at Krishna's time. So there you see little Krishna pointing to the hill. There's his father and Balaram standing next to him, and cows and so forth. And Krishna's giving direction of how to perform Govardhan Puja. The cowherd community then did all that Madhusudana suggested. There you see Nanda Maharaj pouring Abhishek water on Govardhan Shila. They arranged for the brahmanas to recite auspicious Vedic mantras using the paraphernalia that had been intended for Indra's sacrifice. They presented offerings to Govardhan Hill and to the brahmanas with reverential respect. Because if the well-being of the cowherd community is dependent upon the satisfaction of the brahmanas, the proper care and maintenance of the cows, and Krishna himself, and there Krishna's saying, Govardhan Hill is Krishna himself. They also gave grass to the cows. Then, placing cows, bulls, and calves in front of them, they circumambulated Govardhan Hill. Here's another nice painting of feeding the cows with sufficient grass on the occasion of Govardhan Puja. And there they go, circumambulating Govardhan Hill. And here is another nice painting of the Anukut arrangements offered to the hill of Govardhan. And you see in the background there's a little temple, and that's Hari, Lord Hari, accepting the offerings. Now this is when you're doing Govardhan Prikrama, this is the tract of land on the western side of Govardhan Hill where the Anukut was actually set up. So Lord Hari established himself on the right-hand side. Krishna then assumed an unprecedented huge form to instill faith in the cowherd men, declaring, I am Govardhan Mountain. This is a BBT painting, and here's another traditional painting. So I like this image a lot. This is Krishna paying obeisances to Krishna, and behind Krishna is Krishna. There's three Krishnas. Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. Krishna, the little cowherd boy, the form of the personality of Godhead, four-armed form, Narayana or Vishnu, receiving the offerings and the respects of everyone, and behind him, that's Govardhan Hill. So he's declaring that he was Govardhan Hill personified. Just see how this hill has appeared in person to bestow mercy on us, Krishna said, and offered his obeisances to himself. Sri Hari ate all the abundant offerings right in front of, generally speaking, commonly, when an offering is placed before the deity form of the Lord, it looks like the plate just stays put and nothing happens. But actually the deity is accepting, through sound, is accepting the offering. But in this case, when the offerings were made to Sri Hari, he ate everything. There was big mounds of rice and dairy products and vegetables and soups and pies and cakes and everything, and he ate everything. And after eating everything, he said, Aniyor, Aniyor. In local language that means, I want more, I want more. So the residents of Vrindavan were in anxiety because they had emptied their storerooms to make all this offerings. So they ran here and ran there and tried to gather up some other items and place those cooked items in front of the deity, and he ate more. And he ate it all. And he called again, Aniyor. That tract of land that you saw the photograph of on the side of Govardhan Hill, that area is called Aniyor today. Aniyor. So Balaram understood what to do. He took a tulsi leaf and offered a tulsi leaf in front of the Lord. And he stopped saying, I want more. He was satisfied just with accepting the tulsi leaf. Meanwhile, up in the sky, Indra became very perturbed. When Indra understood that his sacrifice had been put aside, he became furious with Nanda Maharaj and the other cowherd men who were accepting Krishna as their Lord. So, you know what he did? He decided to teach them a lesson. I'm King Indra. I'm the Lord of the rainfall that they're so dependent upon. So he called his Samvartaka cloud. There's supposed to be a sound, embedded sound here. But it's not working. There it is. There was some pretty heavy rain here the other day, and some lightning and thunder. So this is recording. So of the various types of clouds, one of them is the cloud of devastation, only used at the time of the cosmic annihilation. So much rain will come at the time of cosmic annihilation that everything becomes flooded in water and submerged and dissolved in the rainfall of Samvartaka. So he sent forward that same Samvartaka cloud. On Indra's order, the clouds of universal destruction, released untimely from their bonds, went to the cowherd pastures of Nanda Maharaj. There they began to torment the inhabitants by powerfully pouring down torrents of rain upon them. There was so much rain that everything became flooded. And that was very dangerous because they're cowherds, and they want to protect their cows, but even the cows were in danger. Too much water. So what to do? They went to Krishna, what to do? He's a little boy. So Krishna said, no problem. I'll make an arrangement so that you'll all be protected. And then came the celebrated event where Krishna lifted Govardhan Hill and invited all the residents to take shelter underneath Govardhan Hill. Bring all your household paraphernalia, all your bullock carts loaded with your family paraphernalia, and stand under the mountain, and everyone will be safe. Now there's two narrations. One narration is, if there's so much water in all directions, then how come the water didn't go underneath the hill? Now one answer was, Krishna sent his Sudarshan chakra, zoom, 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 going very swiftly in a circular motion around Govardhan Hill, drying up the water so it wouldn't enter and flood underneath the hill. And a second explanation that's given is by Krishna's transcendental power, he prevented, by his desire, he prevented the water from entering underneath the hill. But one of the main, you see Krishna's in this painting at least, he's standing up on a little bit of a mound because he's a little boy, just 7 years old, and there's all these adults, so he has to be a little bit taller. And as he's lifting Govardhan Hill, they had the opportunity, because in Krishna's pastimes, during the early morning hours, he's with his parents and the adults. And then he leaves and goes with the cowherd boys. And when he's with the cowherd boys, the elders aren't with him. And the gopis can't be with him either until he returns at the end of the day. And then at the end of the day, he leaves the association of the cowherd boys and he enters again with the young gopis. It's especially in the evening hours. And then again, the adults look after him and feed him and bathe him and everything. So the idea is, at different times of the day, Krishna is exclusively with different sections of the residents of Vrindavan, but no time of the day is everyone with him. So he made this arrangement for 7 days. All the residents of Vrindavan could uninterruptedly be in his association. And he would smile, and they would see him smile, and they would be filled with joy. And in their different rasas or relationships with Krishna, they would feel transcendental love for Krishna growing and growing and growing for 7 days. Here's another nice painting showing the devastation around, and you see up in the upper center, that's the Sudarshan chakra, zooming around Govardhan Hill to dry everybody from the torrential rainfall. Lord Krishna, who is Vishnu himself, picked up Govardhan Hill with one hand and held it aloft, just as easily a child holds up a mushroom. Sound effects. Then the Lord addressed the cowherd community. O mother, O father, O residents of Braja, if you wish, you may now come under this hill with your cows. And so many nice paintings indicating this pastime. Krishna's lifting of Govardhan Hill is one of his most famous, if not the most famous, of his pastimes. And so we're celebrating it twice this year. By continuously drinking the nectar of the beauty and sweetness of Sri Krishna, the residents of Vrindavan felt no hunger, thirst, or fatigue. And Lord Krishna, by seeing their beautiful forms, also forgot about eating, drinking, and sleeping. Think of a 7-year-old boy that doesn't eat or sleep or drink for 7 days. No such thing. No such thing. But Krishna is transcendental. So, big hill, and it's described that because the touch of Krishna's hand, the hill was able to expand, because the ecstatic mood of feeling the touch of Krishna's hand, there was enough room for everybody and all their paraphernalia. You should have no fear that this mountain will fall from my hand, and don't be afraid of the wind and rain, for your deliverance from these afflictions has already been arranged. He's just a 7-year-old boy, but they're very compelled by his loving mood, and they accept his words. Their minds, thus pacified by Lord Krishna, they all entered beneath the hill, where they found ample room for themselves and all their cows, wagons, servants, and priests, and for all members of the community as well. Lord Krishna, forgetting hunger and thirst, and putting aside all considerations for personal pleasure, stood there holding up the hill for 7 days as the people of Vraja gazed upon him. Very merciful. Lord Krishna held up the mountain while his praises were chanted by the residents of Vraja, all of whom now had the opportunity to dwell together with him and who glanced at him with joyful and amazed eyes. Thus the cowherd men and women were all elated, and out of loving affection they opened their eyes wide. Now there's different descriptions that as Krishna was holding up the hill, the residents said, "You're holding up the hill with your left arm. Can you change arms? Your arm must get tired. We can massage your left arm while you hold up the hill with your right arm." Or sometimes they would hold their sticks in the air, like you see here. Krishna lifting Govardhan Hill is full of fascinating details and has for thousands of years remained one of his most famous pastimes. Ordinarily, a large cowherd community, which included many thousands of cows, calves, bulls, and so on, could not fit under the base of a medium-sized hill like Sri Govardhan. However, because the hill was in ecstasy, being touched by the hand of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, it acquired inconceivable power and even felt the hundreds of deadly thunderbolts thrown upon its back by angry Indra to be offerings of soft, fragrant flowers. At times, Sri Govardhan was not even aware that the thunderbolts were striking. When Indra's attack began and Krishna lifted the hill, the deer, wild hogs, and other animals and birds standing on the hill's flanks climbed to its peaks, and even they did not experience the slightest distress. The inhabitants of Vrindavan and their animals remained there for 1 week without being disturbed by hunger, thirst, or any other discomfort. There you see on the left-hand side, that's Nanda Maharaj. He's holding up the hill with a stick. He's thinking, my little son, he thinks he's holding up the hill with his little hand. I'm holding up the hill with all my cowherd boyfriends, or the cowherd men were holding the hill. When Indra observed this exhibition of Lord Krishna's mystic power, he became most astonished. Pulled down from his platform of pride, his intention thwarted, he ordered his clouds to desist. So when the clouds subsided and the sun came out again, Indra, as you see in the painting in the lower center, Indra coming before Krishna, paying his prostrated obeisances. my dear cowherd men, go out with your wives, children, and possessions. Give up your fear. The wind and rain have stopped, and the river's high waters have subsided. This is Krishna to the residents of Vrindavan. After Krishna had lifted Govardhan Hill and thus protected the inhabitants of Braja from the terrible rainfall, Surabhi, the mother of the cows, came from her planet to see Krishna. She was accompanied by Indra. So Indra came on the back of Airavata. The Airavata also brought celestial Ganges water to bathe Krishna. That's coming up. And that's on the other side of Govardhan Hill. But Surabhi came along with Indra from her celestial abode. And she and Airavata wanted to offer their celestial trunk of the Ganges water, bathe Krishna. There's Indra and Surabhi by his side. There's Airavata bathing Krishna, there's another BBT painting of the same. Having appealed to Lord Krishna, Mother Surabhi performed his bathing ceremony with her own milk. That's pictured on the right side. Along with Airavata, there's Surabhi. Indra, ordered by Aditi and other mothers of the demigods, anointed the Lord with heavenly Ganges water from the trunk of Indra's elephant, Airavata. In the company of the demigods and great sages, Indra coronated Lord Krishna, while Surabhi gave him the name Govinda. Now, some of you have been to Vrindavan. How many here have been to Vrindavan? Many. Oh, good. So when you go to Vrindavan, surely you visit Govardhan. And when you go along the eastern side of Govardhan Hill, you'll come to a nice place called Govinda Kund. Govinda Kund is given the name where Surabhi bathed Krishna and gave him the name Govinda. Surabhi gave Krishna the name Govinda. And the place where that was done, where the bathing was done, was Govinda Kund. So since that time, Govinda Kund. So here's a nice painting of Indra, so that the pastime ends. The Airavata Shila, the place where Airavata bathed Krishna, is on the opposite side of Govardhan Hill. There's a place along the side of the Govardhan Hill where there's an impression of Airavata's footprint along the side of the hill, and Airavata Kund, where Airavata performed her Abhishek, or his Abhishek, of Lord Krishna. So that's the essence of the Govardhan Lila.